Like, I don't know, anybody that's starting out, like, I just want to kind of share my story more to give people hope. Because back in 2019, I had built a successful business probably 10 years prior to that, made millions, lost everything to the point where like I literally got evicted out of my high-rise luxury condo. I had like $4.12 in my bank account. It's the first time I made any money online. And I made like $297 like selling a funnel, and then all the automations that came with that. And then the very next day, like I closed my first quote unquote agency client on a retainer. But long story short, like I got really good results for my agency client.
Welcome, everyone, to another podcast episode with the High Level Spotlight session. Today, I have the privilege of bringing Jeff Lopez. He's a fellow Houstonian, H-Town, go Astros. But what I love about Jeff's story over the last several years, I've seen the different progress, different things that he did to change his business up. So I asked Jeff, hey, do you mind jumping on a quick podcast with us and just kind of sharing some of the strategies that worked for him when it comes to SaaS and agency. So without any further ado, Jeff, his story is amazing. I mean, he went from sleeping on his grandma's couch and building
Literally.
like $1 million business plus in like, I don't know, a matter of 4 or 5 months or 6 months. So, but I'll let you do the intro, Jeff. Tell us a little bit about your journey, man.
Yeah. So first off, thanks for having me on here, Paulson. It's cool to be in the community a little bit more and getting to be up here at the spotlight like the other guys. So just kind of share my story a little bit. Like, I don't know, anybody that's starting out, like, I just want to kind of share my story more to give people hope. Because back in 2019, I had built a successful business probably 10 years prior to that, made millions, lost everything to the point where like I literally got evicted out of my high-rise luxury condo. I had to move back to Kansas, sleeping on my grandparents' couch. And I'm really like in a nutshelling it right now, but which is not very like ideal conditions. Like it got so bad, I had like $4.12 in my bank account. And like I had that screenshot somewhere. And my mom was like, give me $20 every few days. Let's living off gas station food. Like, not to be like a sob story, but it was just like, it was rough. So like I had to make this stuff work. But February 2019, like, and actually February 13th, 2019, like I will forever remember that day. It's the first time I made any money online. And I made like $297 like selling a funnel. And then all the automations that came with that. And this was like right before I had heard of High Level. And it's actually a good story about High Level here in a second. But I sold her this funnel, super happy because I was like, oh my gosh, I can make money on the internet. And had to set up all these automations with Zapier and like ClickSend and like all this different stuff. And like I was learning it as I was going. And then the very next day, like I closed my first quote unquote agency client on a retainer. And then same thing. So like I had a lot of hard work cut out for me. Little did they know I'd never done any of this stuff before. It was all just like watching YouTube videos and like thinking I grasped the concept. But long story short, like I got really good results for my agency client. Asked him to refer me somebody. He did. We got great results. So much so that they invited me to speak out at a chiropractic conference as a digital marketing expert, which like I was not. Like I was like a kid sleeping on a couch. Like, and I spoke, and that week I did $30,000 in business. Signed up 10 clients at a $3,000 retainer. And the funny thing is, like, it took me so long to onboard those clients and like running these services and like just focusing on delivering the product that the next month I had forgot to bill people. And we had added a bunch of more clients, but I lost about $33,000 in billings, and I didn't want to go back to them like say, hey, sorry, like I forgot to bill you. You owe me for 2 months. So we just ate it. And that was right about the time we started looking for other solutions like High Level. Sorry to go on a long-winded story there, but
No, you're good.
Once we found oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying you're good because that feast and famine story of sales versus client fulfillment right out of the gate is perfect.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it was like the happiest day of my life, followed by like, oh my gosh, like pulling my hair out, trying to like fulfill on all this stuff. And, again, not knowing the industry very well. And I remember, if Jeff Miller's watching this, shout out to Jeff Miller and his group, but I was learning from him. And I remember joining his group, and it asked like a question, like, what's your goal for your agency? And I said, within 6 months, I want to be doing $30,000 a month. And I remember him messaging me. He's like, hey, that's a pretty lofty goal. He's like, people have been doing this for a while that haven't hit that. And I was like, man, well, I'm not everybody, man. Like I'm broke and I'm hungry. Like, like I'm going to make this happen. And within 6 months, like fast forward to, I think it was August of 2019, we had $102,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And we streamlined our onboarding process. We had like all these automations involving high level, and it just made the process a whole lot better. And, we'll fast forward a little bit past then. So as we were running an agency for quite a while, had $1 million business on my hands with literally $0 in ads, just off the strength of like referrals and just having a good offer. And then we got to a point where we just got very comfortable, and, people started seeing what we're doing. They start copying our stuff. And no offense, I mean, that's the marketing game, right? Like, if you're setting a trend, people are going to come and, ride your wave. But we got a little comfortable, and it got to the point where I just got tired of dealing with, having to fight and put out new offers or make the marketing new again to compete with these people. So we shifted lanes, and I was like, okay, we're going to offload like all our marketing clients. We're going straight to sales training. We put out a sales training offer, sold our first client at $7,500, took him from about to close his doors to like $83,000 in sales in the first month. And then we took his testimonial, launched an offer again, and did $240,000 in 2 weeks. So much that like now we taught these people to sell, and then they weren't happy with their marketing companies. So it spawned us to get back into marketing and then just rebuild an agency from scratch pretty much again. And so now we have just these different areas of our business now, which is great. Like we have a SaaS component where we have about probably 80 active clients that are paying like a monthly subscription to SaaS. We have some that are also on programs where they're paying a retainer, so it's kind of included, so they're not technically paying for SaaS on its own. Then we have sales training that we're selling now. This is morphed into, we're selling supplements to these people to supplement what we're doing. And then now we've partnered with a big company called Contour Light, where we actually sell medical devices, and they actually paid for a $500,000 studio here so I can create content for these people, which is really, really cool to just, the evolution has been insane.
So let's go back and unpack some of the transitions that you were talking about. So the first thing that happened is you had a great offer, you went out to the market, jumping on the phone, Zoom calls, landing clients, all to get to a point where you're getting, there's a lot of competition there. So let's unpack that. So you picked an industry, I assume, you picked an offer, you knew it was better than anybody else's, you went all in on that. And then when it got to the fulfillment of it, it started getting difficult. Now, because now you got to keep up with the Joneses of the marketing agencies, right? You got to figure out how to be agile in your offer. Can you unpack that first phase of, I guess, improvements?
Yeah. So, when I picked a market, like when I say picked, like it was, again, coming from that place of desperation. Like I was reaching out to anybody. Like I was reaching out to nail salons. I was walking into pizza shops. I was reaching out to anybody and everybody that would listen. And the first people that gave me a shot happened to be a laser lipo place. That was that $297 client named Tammy. Again, forever grateful for her. The next day, it was Dr. Stuart Hoover in Kansas City, which same thing. It was like a laser lipo body contouring type thing.
This is for marketing services.
Yeah, it's for marketing services. Yeah. Okay. And I'm like, I close them on the deal, and like I'm excited, but then I get off the phone. I'm like, man, I don't even know what the hell like laser lipo is. Like I got to do my research. And I guess figuring out my offer was easy because I had probably 3 or 4 sales calls prior to those calls with those people. And like, I didn't know anything. So when I start talking to them, I'm going through like a pitch deck that I had like downloaded from the internet that everybody was using. And I'm going through this thing, but then they started asking questions, and I kind of started learning about the competition that way. They're like, oh, well, do you guys do a contract? Cause I'm in a contract now and I hate it. And I'm like writing this stuff down, like hates contracts. And then they were like, what do you get leads? Like my leads are so low quality. I'm like, oh, low quality leads. And again, I'm new to marketing. I didn't even know what that meant. So I'm like, I thought all leads were like the same. I'm like, can you tell me what low quality is? It's like, oh yeah, they come in, but they never buy anything. And I'm like writing these words down verbatim. So like by the time I talked to Dr. Hoover, my pitch became the opposite of what they were telling me they hated. So like they were giving me the hot points to sell them. So I'm telling them like, hey, so we focus on high quality, high intent leads that actually buy your bigger packages, not those low quality ones. And we believe our results should, keep you committed to us. So we don't do any contracts. We just do results. And like, by the time I said that, he was just like, oh man, that sounds good. How much? And like, I butchered so many, like a few sales calls before that, to where when he asked the price, like I was going to say $1,500, but like there was no resistance. So I just threw out a number. I said $2,500. He's like, okay, how do I get started? And I'm like, oh my God, like I got one, like super excited. But again, like I said, as soon as he paid the invoice, Like I cried, like no shame. Like I cried because it took so long to get to that point. But then I was immediately just terrified about, how I'm yeah, fulfill it. And then like, what the heck is body contouring? Like, but when we started getting results, and at that time, Facebook, it was really easy to get these results. Again, I just leaned on that fact that we don't do contracts. We go for high quality, high engaging leads. And then we started putting like prepayment barriers before they could, schedule sessions or anything like that. We raised the price on people, which they told me you shouldn't do in an industry, but I didn't want quantity. I wanted quality. And when I started raising the price of these offers, people said, nobody's going to buy it. It's like, well, we got a lot less, but the people that did buy, the very first person that came into my client bought a $2,000 package. So like my services were almost paid for in that first session. And then he's telling people like, yeah, the very first lead bought a $2,000 package. So I'm getting these referrals. Like, it's not even a sales call. They're like, hey, are you Jeff with Plus Plus? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, hey, I want that same thing Dr. Hoover's got. I was like, okay, cool. What's a good email to send an invoice to? Send him the invoice. And like, there was no resistance whatsoever. And when I saw, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk about from the marketing services transitioning into the sales offer, right? Because I know you're really good at sales. I know your team is good at sales because I know, I've been in a lot of the inner circles with the same people like Jeff Miller, Joel Kaplan, and a lot of the Christine Seal, like a lot of the familiar faces. So I know the strategies, but like help us understand how you decided to transition from being a marketing provider to then later go into a sales service altogether.
Gotcha. So easy transition for us, because any marketer that's like ran ads for clients is going to tell you the same thing. No matter how good you are at marketing, no matter how many results that you get, client's going to call you, Jeff, these leads suck. They're low quality. So it's like, even if we're going for higher quality, we're getting them to pay 3 times the price of, the offer that the previous marketing company was doing. At some point, what I found with business owners, and no shot to business owners, but they like to blame everything but themselves on converting these leads to the point where they're low quality. It's not we have a low quality sales process. It's the leads are low quality. Like, they're blaming external factors. And so when we started getting competition, client or these other marketing companies were using my strategy. It's like, oh yeah, you're getting low quality leads. We can get you better quality leads. And then they go through this same circle of, it's pretty much a circus really, but they go to the other company, they get a lot more volume of leads, but then 2 months later, the leads are low quality and they're coming back to us. So we got to re-onboard them. We got to teach them anything that's new with ours. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fix this problem. Like, I'm going to teach them how to sell so they don't tell me my leads are low quality ever again. And we got so dang good at it. Like I said, I won't mention the name of the guy because he literally was about to close his doors. He was a little embarrassed. Like, he's a medical doctor, about to close his practice after 20 years and go work at the hospital. And we turned it around to $83,000 in a month. But when we did that, we shared that story, and it's like, hey, now it's like, how would you like your leads to never be low quality again? How would you like to increase your conversion rate from 10% to 35 to 40% minimum? And we started selling that aspect of it. And when we did that, it was a whole new offer. Like, it was is it Blue Ocean? They call it. So it was a whole new offer, and we weren't selling marketing anymore. And in fact, now I don't have to compete with marketing companies because nobody was teaching sales. So, and because nobody was teaching it, I was selling it for like $600 and $7,500. So it added up really quickly. I think we onboarded like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. And when it comes to delivering I guess a consulting / coaching / teaching kind of a package, did you do that over Zoom? Did you do that in person? Like, I did something similar in the dental space with my previous agency. And what I did was fly into the location, spend like a week with them, and like did a whole photography session, took them out for lunch, and charged them like, 7-8 grand. I'm curious of how your delivery was.
Yeah. So, man, so it sounds like we made a lot of the same. I would call move to me, like, like time was like of the essence with me. Like, when I had 42 clients sign up in a 2-week period, never thought in a million years I would get, that was a ton of money, but that was also a lot of responsibility. And I was trying to like value stack my offer so much because, we learned like throw everything in there and make it so freaking valuable. Like, it was like, we're going to build you a digital wall of fame to show your testimonials. We're going to teach you how to get testimonials. I'm going to send you out a board, all this stuff. But at that time, I didn't think my offer was going to take off like that. So it was like one-on-one coaching calls. So I'm doing like 42 hours a week of coaching calls, like for each individual clinic, to the point, this is probably TMI for people, but like to the point, like my throat was literally like bleeding like after some days because I was talking so much and it just didn't recover. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to group coaching calls. We don't need the digital wall of fame. That doesn't help them sell. We don't need to teach them how to do testimonials anymore. And I stripped my offer to just teaching them a 3-step process for sales. So, and now we sell it for $10,000. It includes probably a third of what we had in it. And now we charge even more, but it's like, because they're paying for that specific result. So I was in that trap of like, let me try to give them everything under the sun. Let me personally teach your team. I'm gonna hop on hoorah with everybody, get them selling. But it just became like a very time constraining thing. So we had to like trim it down. And then, I mean, today we got like coaches, like I pay a couple of our top people out of that program. They do coaching calls on Wednesdays, Fridays, Mondays. I'm not very involved in it at all, other than getting people to sign up and talk to my team. But the fulfillment was a lot.
Now let's make a full circle here. So you went from offering marketing services, realizing the same problem everybody else had. You decided, you know what, I'm going to solve a bigger problem, which we know most of the front desk cannot sell or close even a kitchen cabinet, right? So then
Right. Yeah.
you decided to take on that problem of teaching them sales. Then what that does is gives you a lot of reverence of like, well, if you are teaching us how to do sales, can you go ahead and do marketing for us? So I assume they came back and asked you for more marketing because they're like, well, if you can help us sell, you can probably help us market. Is that what happened, or is that an assumption?
No, that's exactly what happened. We got to the point they were closing so well, and then the thing became everybody started asking for marketing, and they're like, we're getting not many leads through the door. Like, you used to do marketing, can you do our marketing? And I'm like, hey, we haven't done it in a while. Like, we kind of got out of that, but we'll go ahead and do it. And then we started again putting our offers about 3 times higher than what the other marketing company was doing, and then we watched the closing ratios go up even more for our clients. So we're like, okay, let's roll this out to more people. And we found that, now that we're teaching the sales training, like we're keeping clients. Like, I mean, I have clients now that have been with me since 2019 that, I haven't talked to in a year and a half. They're still paying for our service happily. Yeah. But our retention is incredible. Like, I mean, they're not leaving because they're not getting this kind of value anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we're way beyond marketing.
Yeah. So 2 things happened. One is you elevated and solve the right problem, not just any problem that they're willing to allow you to solve, right? So you said, you know what, sales is a problem. That's what I'm going to solve. The other thing I think from observation is you went above the market instead of undercutting the market, right? There's no advantage in being in the middle of the market. Either be the most expensive or the cheapest, right? So It looks like you went from being on the lower side all the way to the higher side. Now you're probably one of the more expensive one, but it's more bang for the buck, right?
Yeah, we're the most expensive in our industry that I know of, and that's by design.
Right. So less is more.
Yeah, and we also tested price points too. Like, I don't know what marketer said it, but the more they pay, the more they pay attention. We had tested the sales training. We opened it up after that first 42 in the group setting at a lower price point, and the people that came in didn't get as good a results. So we went right back up to $7,500. I mean, I even took a guy's, like, he dipped into his like savings or retirement, and like I remember like putting in the details and hitting enter on the computer, and the phone like died, and I call him back, like, I don't know what happened, but he's like, dude, I'm already having buyer's remorse. Like, he's like, you don't know, I had a dip in my savings, blah 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 blah. But anyways, he ended up being one of our most successful stories. Like, his goal was 10K. He did 22.5 in his first 25 days with us. And again, we started seeing that trend. The more they paid, the better result that they got. Also, we got better clients to work with. Like, when we were trying to accommodate everybody, they're the ones that want everything for as little as possible, not going to apply it, and then they're going to blame you. So we just said, hey, we'll stick up here, top premium prices. Our competitors are even like, we give this away for free. We can teach you. And I'm like, yeah, keep giving it for free. It's not doing your clients any good.
Yeah. And I think going from like that McDonald's feel to going like a boutique style, you have a lot more freedom in the relationship that you build with the clients. Like, I was charging $5,000 for consulting packages with my dental agency, kind of similar. I had a partnership with a company called the Scheduling Institute out of Atlanta, and they did a lot of the teaching and coaching and sales, and they handled the front desk. I basically was the back end that really just did the lead gen, but it was a great collaboration in a space like 2012, 13, 14, those days when nobody was doing, automation even, right? So it's interesting to see like a better version of that in 2019. So Jeff, help us understand. I know a lot of SaaSpreneurs are watching, high levelers are watching this podcast. Help us understand how you dipped into SaaS from the sales approach that you had, or where is the SaaS play in this mix?
Gotcha. So we tie our SaaS into like everything that we do now. Again, we're so vertically integrated within like our niche specifically is red light therapy, like so much so that I'm partnered with a big medical manufacturer. So when we sell a device, we give them 3 months of SaaS so they can, send out an email blast. It's already prepackaged. They just load in their list. So again, we're trying to be as sticky as can be. I think that's a term I got from Sean or somebody at High Level, but we're giving it to them for free. We're also packing it with so many things that help them make money quickly to where after that, they just start paying for it on a monthly basis. And then it's an easy transition into, if they don't already have the marketing, which we're including that for a month for free right now when they purchase. We let them try the marketing and, we just have to add some stuff to your account. Boom, we can roll it out pretty quickly because you're one of our SaaS clients. We call it just the lead tracker software. But and then same thing with sales training is, we teach them the sales training process, but then the follow-up, like what we're telling them to say in the sales training and the consultations with their clients or patients, we have automations that, when they close somebody, everything's been reinforced. They start the program, or if they didn't close somebody, all the things that we told them to say to get that second at bat to close this client, automations start going out and it coincides with what we're teaching. So it's like they can't go anywhere and get that much stuff kind of packed in or integrated into their sales process. So we integrate it into everything. And once people are on there, I mean, it pays for itself over and over again. So, I mean, people just pay for that, even if they leave the marketing, even if, whatever the case may be, they're just always paying for SaaS. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think the key is you're providing a lot of context to manual follow-ups in your sales training. And then more than likely, even though there's context, you're showing them how you're automating all those things that they should be doing. Like we know they have to have 8 to 12 different touch points or follow up XYZ, maybe text, maybe email, maybe voice drop, like all those things being automated after you educate them. I think it's very powerful. So kudos to you on that. Help us understand how SaaS has really affected the book of business, right? Because I know for a fact SaaS obviously creates that stickiness and, like it keeps the clients in the book of business, whether marketing is good, whether sales is good. It kind of becomes like a foundational book, right? It becomes like a foundational group of clients that you can count on, essentially, like they're more predictable. Help us understand how you view that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you kind of said it perfectly. It's a great foundation that, once they're in the SaaS, we know they're not necessarily going to leave that. I mean, it's very, very rare that somebody like just completely leaves everything and like drops the SaaS. So like you said, it's predictable as far as we got revenue coming in. I mean, that revenue covers literally all our overhead and then some. So even if we decided to not sell sales training or, we want to take a couple months and create a new offer, we can do that and not be a slave to, having to push something out to like, holy crap, payroll's coming up. Holy crap, we got to pay for the office or whatever it is. And that predictability, like that's worth its weight in gold. Like, cause I mean, I've been there on that grind, like, having those crazy months, but I mean, like you said, it can be feast or famine, especially with our business is kind of seasonal. Like in the holidays, people aren't necessarily looking to lose weight or contour their bodies as, much as they are in the summertime. So we do see a big, turn down in the marketing. Like people are just conditioned to, want to turn it off, and we're getting better each year. Like our rates of stickiness through this time is better, but they don't drop the SaaS. So it's like, even if we don't want to, have to come up with a new marketing angle and pitch that to them, we're going to be fine and we can focus on other areas of our business without having to throw a new offer up every month. So yeah, I love it.
So from our data inside High Level, we, obviously everybody's integrated into High Level. Your Stripe accounts are there. We know when you start a new sub account, like we can tell if an agency is doing good or bad, right? So like from all those data points, we know that if you're a niched agency that is like dentist or med spa or something specific, and all you do is like provide Facebook ads or Google ads, like a one service, more than likely your churn rate is like around 72 to 76% within a 90-day span. So meaning 3/4 of your customers will leave you in 90 days or less. That's the stat we have on agencies. Now, if you're a traditional agency, right, maybe like the Josh Nelson or Nick Robbins style that, they do the websites, the SEO, the Facebook ads, radio, like they have multiple arms in the business. Someone like that, they usually keep their clients a little longer, but it's still like 54 or 56% within like a 5-6 month span. So in a traditional agency, within 6 months, they lose half of their clients. With
Man.
SaaS, we know that it's around 5 to 7% that will ever leave you, or that's the churn rate. And on average, they stay for 18 to 24 months.
That sounds
These
actually
are
pretty
these
accurate.
are
Yeah.
these are stats we have inside high level of thousands of agencies. So like Jeff, your story just aligns with those numbers. So when I tell people, hey, do SaaS, like you don't even have to use high level for all that matters. Like have some kind of a utility fee, some kind of a software solution. Even if you don't use high level, I think it benefits the agency's bottom line.
Absolutely. Another thing, as you were talking there, another thing that we did that I think helps with our stickiness with the SaaS. So we're not trying to be like a one-stop shop for everything. Like we specialize in Facebook ads to get people in to sell them because we specialize in the sales training. But we do have a Google gal, we call her. But we make sure that anybody we partner with on these different things, they have to use our SaaS. So they're building within our platform. So again, whether they leave our Facebook ads and they're still doing her Google marketing or, our YouTube partner, everybody has to build within our SaaS. So that way they're never leaving. But I mean, it's like you said, it's pretty predictable and it's extremely rare if somebody leaves us with SaaS. Like their business had to have been hit by a meteor or something. So
yeah, which is interesting because like if you look at these massive corporate companies, let's look at Netflix, look at DirecTV, look at any of these guys, right? Everybody is trying to figure out how to get to the subscription revenue more than like an upfront big down payment. They want you to get into a $9.99 offer. Like the other day, I was on flying on United and Wi-Fi. They were asking me, do I want to buy a monthly subscription of internet on United? I'm like, I don't fly that often. I fly maybe once a month, but it's insane that even bigger corporate companies are figuring out ways to do subscription. Like BMW and Toyota, like now their internal features are subscriptions. Like if you want heated seats or heated something, like
I saw
their
that.
internal things are subscription, right? So when you see a whole market, consumer market like the US, like these products, these product makers are all going subscription, you probably should pay attention as a marketing company, if you ask me.
Oh,
But go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say absolutely. I think that was one of the hardest mental shifts for me to make was like, because I came from selling $3,000 a month retainers, and I'm like, 3 clients at dang near $10,000. Like if I sell SaaS, I got 30 clients to make $10,000 a month. But like the thing I wasn't taking into consideration was how much longer or likely they are to stay for a long period of time, to the point where now, like, I've worked with a lot of different agency owners to kind of help them, implement some of the stuff we're doing in their agencies. And I always tell them, like, figure out your overhead, whether that's personal and business. And like, you should aim to be getting your SaaS to cover that first. And like, when you like really shoot for that target, you get a really good foundation to where it's predictable. Cause a lot of times with agency owners, they're always coming to me. It's like, dude, it's crushing. And then a month later, it's like, dude, like, I don't know how I'm gonna cover my rent. Like, and it's like, it's like, you should be you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on the like big bangs. Like you need to build up. It's kind of like investing in real estate. Like it doesn't sound sexy at all, but by the time you've done it for a few years, it's like you wouldn't go any other way. Like your returns are always going to be there. It's way more foundational. So
yeah, and like Jeff said, like lot of bigger agencies, right? Like we've had several like 1,000 client agencies try to figure out the SaaS thing. They're like, holy crap, we don't want to break anything. We've got a big revenue line already. Yeah, Paulson, I hear what you're saying, but like right now we're like printing, right? So like I'm like, cool, great. But would you consider just building SaaS so you cover your advertising cost, like your paid ads cost, your overhead cost, your utility cost, your employees cost, like maybe even bonus commission for all your salespeople and appointment setters, like but a lot of bigger agencies, what they did was launch SaaS to just cover their paid ad, their client acquisition cost. And that is usually like 20, 30 grand when you're in that 1,000 client range, right? Just in a month. But these are great nuggets, Jeff, you're dropping, man. I appreciate you. Any final things that you want to share with our audience? I know you told me, hey bro, like I don't want anybody coming to me. I'm not a coach. Like I'm not, like I'm happy to share my story just as an inspiration. So we appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, I'm not looking to sell anybody anything. I mean, if you guys have questions, you can certainly message me, but I'm not trying to hop on a bunch of calls and mentor anything like that at this time. But I will say, just really pay attention to the data. Like, I think the more we become marketing people, like, you know, we're pretty hawkeye when it comes to data. And then especially like when you're sharing those statistics, like, I mean, you look at the industry trends, like even with big corporations, like you said, and how little the churn rate is, that should be enough incentive for you to start focusing on this, even though, again, I can sell a $10,000 program or I can sell SaaS, and it does take a lot more people to build up that same amount. But the cool thing is, like, I sell that $10,000 program, it's done. It doesn't come next month. When I get to $10,000 a month in SaaS, it's still there. And if I lose a few clients, it's still there for the most part. So I think you just need to work on having that mental shift and grind it out until you get that, I guess, that foundational level, whatever that is for you there. And then I think you'll get addicted to it once you hit that level. So it's just...
Well, Jeff, I appreciate you, man. If we're ever, in Houston again, I'll hit you up and maybe we'll go grab lunch or something. I think there's a group of high levelers that get together in Houston for lunches in Galleria. So I'll keep you
let's do it. Yeah.
informed on that. But anyways, man, appreciate you coming on our podcast and sharing. If any of you that are watching never even heard of High Level, feel free to go to our website, look at a trial, or maybe look at our SaaS plans and see if you want to launch a software company for yourself. But either way, Jeff, thank you, man.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.